Hey guys, another video for our How to Do Stuff in Japan playlist. I actually talked about this topic on another video some time ago, but it was relived this week. It came up again this week. So I actually posted an image on Patreon and Facebook and Twitter of a bunch of Japanese warriors from feudal times about to go off and fight, and one of them was saying, "Sorry everyone, I have to go home, I caught a cold," right? And it was a bit of sort of a in-joke for people who sort of know about this topic or who live in Japan. And it's sort of a bit of a pressure release, really, because it's something that every year, all year, all the time, is a constant thing. So this video is a couple of things. One is a bit of a how-to for your own thing if you happen to be in Japan. And another one is a bit of a heads up for what you might experience. So what triggered this one this week was we had a couple of situations this week where we were going to do things with people. One was a business thing and cancelled because the person caught a cold. And the other one, which was sort of a bigger one, was my wife had actually been organising an event with someone, and so her and this other lady were organising an event, and they're putting a lot of work into it. You know, they're spending money and buying things for it and getting organised for it and spending a lot of time every day organising this event. And the event's supposed to be on Sunday, and then the other lady sent a message and said, "Oh, sorry, I caught a cold. I can't do the event," and that sort of left my wife doing it on her own. And it's just like, you got to be joking, you know, because a lot of us come from cultures where, you know, if you're really sick, if you've got a fever and you're really, really sick, then of course, you know, you stay home. But you know, I caught a cold, and that's it. That's it. So there's a few aspects to this. One of them was our reaction as people who aren't Japanese, who come from cultures where having a cold's no big deal. You know, you keep a handkerchief in your pocket, you blow your nose, and you keep doing whatever it is that you're supposed to be doing, you know. But they just, "Oh, got a cold, that's it. That's it." So my reaction was, "You've got to be joking," you know. It seems from a non-Japanese person's point of view to be a really selfish, weak sort of thing. It's like, come on, suck it up, you know, you got a cold, geez, make an effort, you know. But interestingly, and I said to my wife, "You've got to be joking," you know, and she said, "Oh no, she's being considerate because other people won't want to be near her when she's got a cold, it'll make them uncomfortable," right? And that's a really, really important thing that we have to remember, is from the Japanese point of view, that lady's doing the right thing. And I mean, this isn't a COVID thing either, by the way. They have become more paranoid because of COVID, which is sort of ridiculous, really, because if everybody at these events is wearing a mask and everybody's washing their hands in alcohol, the chances of transferring a cold from one person to another obviously is less than it is normally, right? But that's not the way they see it. The way they see it is, if they've got a cold and they're coughing, that because of COVID, that's even worse, because that's going to make people nervous. But COVID is irrelevant. If you're watching this video in a year's time where COVID's finished, it's still going to be the same situation. Before COVID, it was the same situation. And in winter, it's all the time. You know, probably a week doesn't go past in winter that someone doesn't cancel something because they've caught a cold. You know, but it's not just winter; it's all year round. It's all year round. So it's just, you know, "Sorry, I caught a cold." Middle of summer. "Sorry, I caught a cold, I can't come. Sorry, I caught a cold, I can't do it." So there's a few lessons in this for us. The first one is, it doesn't matter how long you live here, this one can really drive you nuts. It really can. You know, when something's really important that you got to do and you're relying on someone else for some reason, and then, "Sorry, I can't do it, got a cold." It's like, oh, a cold, really, you know? And so for some of us, it drives us absolutely nuts. But there's nothing you can do about it. It's just the way it is. They think they're doing the right thing. Usually, there is another aspect to this. Sometimes it's a lie. Sometimes it's just a lie, because it's a universal excuse. You can use it. You can say any time of year, you can suddenly say, "Sorry, I have a cold, I can't come. Sorry, I have a cold, I can't do that thing." Ironic, isn't it? Sorry, I've caught a cold, I can't make this video. But, so it's a universal excuse. So sometimes it is a lie, and you'll never know. It's like the why video we made recently. You'll never know if they really had a cold or they didn't. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether it's true or not. Someone says to you, I can't come, I've got a cold, then obviously you just have to say to them, oh, I'm very sorry to hear that. I hope you get better. Oh, that's ridiculous, isn't it? I hope you get better soon. I hope you get better soon, you know, and that's all you can say. That's all you can say. So there's a few aspects to this. First one is when somebody tells you in Japan they've got a cold so they can't do that thing. I'm sorry, I can't marry you this weekend, I've got a cold, or whatever it is that they're saying. You just have to say, oh, I'm sorry, I hope you get better soon. That's the first part. And the other small part that's sort of just a heads up, it could be a lie. It quite commonly is. I've heard people do it. I've heard people say, oh, you know, I really don't want to go to that thing, and they send a message and say, sorry, I caught a cold, I can't go. And in Japanese thinking that sort of lie is quite acceptable, because what you're doing is you're getting out of the thing without making them feel bad. So the other one is that we have to know, if I turn up somewhere, that sneezing, don't know what that was, it was probably dust, I don't have a damn cold, right? But if I did, I'd still be making this video and I'd still be going to this appointment, right? But anyway, that's the next part, is if we're sneezing or coughing or we've got a runny nose or we do have a cold, then you've got to be really careful where you go. Because from their point of view, from our point of view, oh look, it's just a cold, I'm all right, I'm going to still go and do this important thing. But from their point of view, that's what my wife said, is that they'd feel uncomfortable. So if I turned up somewhere today sneezing and coughing and blowing my nose, which that's another video, some of you might remember, blowing your nose in public's a really not cool thing in Japan. Not much worse than farting in public, right? So like it's a similar sort of thing. If you're in a room and blow your nose, it's a similar thing to blowing off a big fart. It's considered to be not cool. So what you're supposed to do is you go off somewhere else quietly in a corner or in the bathroom or somewhere else and blow your nose there. So it's just all connected, right? It's all connected. They don't like any of it. So that's the thing. So the lessons for us is, first one is we've got to be cool when someone else cancels something really important because they caught a cold. We've got to be really, really cool about it and really, really convincing about it. You know, they'll know if you're not being cool. So that's the first one. The second one is, if we catch a cold, then we have to consider carefully whether we should go to that thing we're going to go to or not. It's hard. It really is hard. Stuff like this, it doesn't matter how much you understand this or how long you live here, stuff like this can be really hard to get used to. It's interesting, different people have different weak points. If you talk to other foreigners who've lived here for a long time, you know, we have different people. Some people are just amazingly philosophical and nothing seems to bother them, you know. Bless them, the lucky people, you know. They're just really philosophical about it, and they're just nothing bothers them, you know. That's the best way to be, obviously. Just accept everything and just be really cool and don't let anything bother you. That's the ideal. But obviously that's also very difficult. So different people have different weak points. This is one of mine. This one drives me nuts. Because, you know, some of our cultures, in Australian culture, you know, if you're going to do something important and you catch a cold, you don't even mention it usually. You know, you'd go off and you do whatever the important thing is that you're supposed to be doing, and you wouldn't be saying, oh, I caught a cold, you know, but you wouldn't even mention it. Maybe if you're coughing and blowing your nose and stuff, people go, did you catch a cold, did you? Maybe. But usually they wouldn't. But here they're obsessed with it. You know, in winter, one of the things that people say when you're leaving from someone, if you've been with someone and you're saying, okay, see you later, and quite often they'll say, see you later, be careful, don't catch a cold, right? Don't catch a cold, they'll say. Don't catch a cold. They're obsessed with it. You know, in autumn, you know, the weather changes. It's sort of warm and it's cold, and it's warm and it's cold. Oh, bad for health, they say, bad for health. You'll catch a cold, you'll catch a cold. They're just obsessed with it. Absolutely obsessed. And you know, it doesn't seem to stop them all catching colds either, you know. It's not like this paranoia about catching colds and everybody staying home when they've got a cold, and masks, and I mean, irrelevant to COVID again, I mean, masks are everywhere here, all year round, but in winter in particular. anybody who's caught a cold or doesn't want to catch a cold or knows somebody who had a cold or whatever reason, everyone wears masks to stop catching colds. But they also seem to get a lot of colds, so it doesn't seem to stop it or work, or I don't know. It's just a thing. So catching colds in Japan. So anyway, hopefully that's of some use to somebody. You know, you just got to take it, just accept it. It's most difficult when it's something really important. You know, that example of this week where, you know, my wife has put a lot of time, and she still is today, she's putting a lot of time into getting this thing organised. More time now because the person who was helping has bailed out. So, you know, in a situation like that where it really messes other people up, you know, it's going to mess her up, it's going to mess me up a bit too. I'm going to have to do a lot more stuff, you know, and really messes people up because someone caught a cold. And it's just, and they accept it fine, and you'll be really uncool if you criticize them or complain or say anything negative at all about it. You'll look bad. You will look bad, you know. So that's why it's important to remember that everybody else is going to think, oh, that poor person, aren't they good for staying home when they've caught a cold, so that nobody else feels bad. That's the way they'll see it. So we just have to be, oh really, oh geez, I hope she gets better soon, and that's all we can say. or if we're talking to the person directly, you know, oh, I'm sorry you caught a cold, I hope you feel better soon. And that's it. Say nothing else and be as genuine as you can. No saying, you weak pussy, get off your ass and go and do something. You can't say that. You shouldn't even think it if you can avoid it. So anyway, that's enough of that. Catching colds in Japan. There it was. More videos coming soon.